This is the new BMW 118. It's the entry-level version of the BMW 1 Series hatchback range, and it's more luxurious and more digital focused than before. It's got a lot more tech and spec, but the price is higher. So is it worth your money? Well, I'll tell you everything you need to know about it apart from the driving stuff in this review, so stay tuned. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell, then you'll be notified when I do my drive. So thanks for watching. Let's get to it. This new generation BMW 1 Series model range is a bit more expensive than the previous lineup. So the entry-level version, this one here, is the 118, and it's $1,700 more than it used to cost. But BMW says that it's added $10,000 worth of extra spec for just a $1,700 price rise. But hey, you can make up your own mind whether you think it's worth that money or not by considering these standard equipment items. You get 18-inch alloy wheels. The versions that are tested here do have 19s. There's also an M Sport package as standard. It gets adaptive LED lights, adaptive suspension, there's a power tailgate, you get a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster and a 10.7-inch touchscreen media system. It comes with Veganza upholstery, so that's fake leather trim. There's heated front seats with power adjustment, and you also get the BMW drive recorder, so it can basically have a dash cam built in for you. And it can do heaps of really fancy things like reverse the last 50 meters for you if you're in a bit of a spot of bother in terms of parking. Plus there's a surround view camera system. I'll cover off more of the safety stuff shortly though. But hey, let's talk about some alternatives to this, because there are some great choices out there for similar money or even less. So you want a compact car, you want it to be luxurious, and you want plenty of features. Well, I reckon you should go and have a look at the Mini Cooper. It's got plenty of character as well. You can check out my review of it by hitting the link in the description. There's a petrol version, actually two petrol versions, and a fully electric one as well, if that's what you're after. So it could stack up really well in terms of the small hatchback factor. But if you're not so sold on the whole idea of a hatchback, maybe you want a crossover or an SUV, what about the Lexus LBX? It is a fantastic little crossover model. It rides a little higher, so it's a little easier to get in and out of, and it's got hybrid technology as well. So it could be a really good choice if you're after something that's going to be fuel efficient, but also pretty luxurious, and it starts at a reasonable price point as well. And finally, I think it could be worth waiting for the updated versions of the Audi A3. The A3 has always been one of the best in the segment in my mind, because it's basically just like a more luxurious feeling Volkswagen Golf, but with more usable tech than the current Golf. So it could be a great choice for you, but let me know if you choose any of those or something else. Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. The new version of the 1 Series hatch is a little nosier than the last one. It's got a longer face on the front of it, and obviously some of that comes down to these redesigned headlights, which are missing the angel eyes, which are the iconic headlights of the last few generations of BMWs, but they're gone, and it's a bit nosier and a bit longer as well than the previous version, just under 4.4 meters in length, same wheelbase as before, but it sits a little higher. So all versions of the 1 Series, including this 118, come with the M Sport package. That's why this one has M badges on it. It's also why it has this funky looking diffuser at the back, and it's got a slightly smaller spoiler than the top spec version, the M135. But let's take a look in the boot and see what sort of space we're working with. Yes, a standard electric tailgate for this hatchback, which is good to see. On the inside, you can see there's plenty of space in there. It's actually a pretty practical size for a hatchback like this. There's a little storage area on the side, and yes, that's a first aid kit. And underneath, there's a tire repair kit, because there is no spare wheel. You can't remove this floor section, so it's just basically an extra storage area underneath there. You will notice that this rear seat layout does include a 40-20-40 split fold system, so you can fold the middle section down and turn it into a ski port if you need to. But I reckon it's a pretty practical space in the back, and yes, there are shopping bag hooks on both sides and a light as well. So it's going to be pretty usable for most families, I would say. Let's check out the inside though. This doesn't feel like a base model car in my opinion. This 118 is a very very nice cabin, and I really think that for a lot of people this will be enough BMW 1 Series rather than stepping up to the high grade M135, because it is a fairly big price jump. But this cabin really does live up to the BMW mindset in terms of offering plenty of wow factor and plenty of tech as well. Let's look at the wow factor things first. So we've got the Veganza interior trim here. It's finished in this ivory finish for this particular vehicle that I'm in. The standard one is black, but I think that this really does add some wow factor. You've got this lovely finish on the doors as well. This car has a Harman Kardon sound system because it's also got a premium package fitted to it. As you can see there, the entertainment package includes a hi-fi sound system. It's an extra 5,000 buckaroos. It also gets you that panoramic glass roof, which I'm not opening because it's hot outside. But there's some other really nice features, including this light section across here. Your vents are, well, they're artistic. They're a really lovely design, these vents, and you get the new stitching on the dashboard to maybe add some sort of wow factor up top. So I think that it looks pretty good at first glance, and the comfort factor is good as well. It's very easy to adjust yourself into a good position, and you've got some, well, difficult to learn technology in some ways. So you've got a 10.7 inch touchscreen media system here. It will take some learning. You will have to spend time getting to know this screen in this car, because I have spent a bit of time in this car today and I haven't learned everything there is to learn about it. I think it would take weeks, maybe months, to get your head around everything, because just have a look at the number of menus on this screen. And yes, it's very configurable, very adjustable. And look, it's running the new BMW operating system 9, so it's the most up-to-date system available. I think that really, for most people, the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity is the most important factor, and it has both of those things wirelessly as well. It's also got the Amazon talkable thing too. So the other thing I want to call out is that you don't have buttons down below here anymore, so there's no climate control buttons here. This climate control panel on the screen is where you'll need to do your adjustments for your air conditioning and so forth, your seat heating, and this car also has a heated steering wheel as well. But that, you get used to that pretty quickly, and I mean, it's not ideal, in my opinion, not to have any buttons, but at least you will get used to that pretty easily. But you'll have to sit in it for yourself and find out whether you can live with these menus, this screen, and all this technology, because like I said, I could spend hours going through what is on offer here, but I'm not going to in this review. So yes, sorry if that's what you're hoping for. But there's also a 10.25 inch screen in front of the driver, which does have a fair amount of info on it as well. As you can see here, there's a few different ways that you can configure this screen. You can have all sorts of different menus and layouts, depending on what you want on the screen. And that's one of the things that you will really like about it, or maybe just be overwhelmed by, is the amount of usability and configurability to this car. I just also have one other issue with the interior. The steering wheel's too fat. It's too big. I don't want to fat shame it, but it is. It's very, very chunky to hold on to, and you can actually find at times that it might be difficult to grip when you're turning a corner or something like that. So that might play into your considerations, or you might be totally fine with the thickness of this unit. But for me, it's just a bit too big. It seems to be something that BMW and Mini just has in their mind, that they need to make thicker and thicker wheels. But down below here, I'll show you through some of the storage. There's a shelf here underneath your vents. You've got a wireless phone charger as standard. There's cup holders, and down here is where you'll find your start-stop button for the car. Your shifter is one of these little toggle units, and you've got a volume dial as well for your media system, so you don't have to go through the screen to adjust the volume. Your park brake is there too, so no physical lever or anything for the park brake. There's a bunch of different buttons there, like your drive modes and so forth as well, and your camera. But yes, it's a pretty neat system. And in here, you'll find Mentos. No, you'll find your little storage tray underneath the armrest. So I think generally it's pretty well considered, and it's pretty high-tech feeling. You've got an auto-dimming rear view mirror here as well. There's your SOS call button in case you're wondering. And you've got these illuminated vanity mirrors, which is probably a good thing for those of us who like to show up looking our best. And one other thing, which is really, really nice, is you've got a grab handle up here on the driver's side, which is unusual for a car like this. Most cars don't have grab handles for the driver. All right, let's check out the back seat space, eh? Okay, so this seat is set for my driving position. I'm 182 centimeters or 6 foot tall. My knees are hard up against it. This is not the most spacious small hatchback on the market. And if you are prioritizing that as your decision maker, there's probably better options out there for you. Now, I think that the space is a consideration for anyone who has taller occupants that they're going to put in the back. Maybe you've got tall teens. Well, if they're really tall, they're not going to fit, because I'm struggling to fit in here, and I'm not the biggest human, but not the smallest either. There's grab handles here, you've got coat hooks, there are directional air vents down below, USB-C ports, and a big transmission tunnel intrusion as well. So using this as a 3-seat bench in the back will be difficult. You will fit 2 comfortably-ish, but there's also ISOFIX points in the window seats, 3 top tethers too, and a flip-down armrest with some cup holders as well as the bottle holders that are in the doors. There's nice soft finishes on the door cards as well, which makes it feel a bit more premium than some of the other rivals out there. And I have to say, it's a not bad backseat experience, but I mean, the space is the real consideration here. Some cars are big on fun factor. This one is a bit bigger on thrum factor. It's got a 3-cylinder, 1.5 litre turbo petrol engine with 115 kilowatts, 230 newton meters. Those numbers are bigger than the previous model, and it's still front wheel drive, and it still has a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. The 0 to 100 time for the 118 is 8 seconds. So it's certainly not the speediest car, but as you'll see in my drive review coming up, it is a pretty fun car to drive in terms of the character. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell, and you'll be notified when that review comes out. The new Generation 1 series hasn't been tested by ANCAP or Euro NCAP yet, so there is no score officially at the time I'm filming this, but there is heaps of new technology and plenty of standard spec when it comes to the safety gear. You've got autonomous emergency braking, there's pedestrian and cyclist detection, there's also adaptive cruise control, there's a lane keeping system, and also a smart adaptive cruise control system so it can steer and stop and start for you as well. You also get a surround view camera system as standard, front and rear parking sensors, and a reversing assistant too. So it's got plenty of safety tech that's great. The speed sign warning system might not be to everyone's tastes, but at least it's there to tell you if you're going over the speed limit. And there's also a really good amount of airbags fitted to this car. So you've got 9 in a very small car. It's got dual front, there's a front center airbag, there's front side airbags, there's also full length curtain coverage, and you get rear airbags in the sides as well. So plenty of airbag cover for this car. In Australia, BMW offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is about the best you can get from a luxury brand in this market. And there's also a bit of an unconventional take on things when it comes to servicing. The car will tell you when it needs servicing, so there are no set service intervals, and that might be something that makes you rule it out. I could totally understand that, because I would want to make sure I'm taking care of my car regularly, not just when it thinks that it needs it. So yes, you can prepay for your servicing if you wish. There's a 5-year prepaid plan available if you want to spend up and basically have that first 5 years of servicing covered. But yeah, again, it might not be for everyone. There's also 3 years of roadside assistance included when you buy a new BMW. I'm a big fan of this new generation BMW 1 Series. It stacks up well on price and spec, it feels pretty high tech, and I really like the interior, apart from the backseat space. But if you're wondering what it's like to drive, well, I'll get to that later on. Make sure you hit subscribe and ring the bell, and you'll be notified, or just check back on my channel later on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.